For nearly 2,000 years, the Nazca Lines existed in plain sight, but were invisible. The only way to see what these lines were from the air. Listen to what I just said. You literally had to have been in a hot air balloon, in a spaceship, in an airplane to be able to see the lines on the ground in Peru that were created over 2,000 years ago. So they only reveal themselves from the sky, which raises the first and most important question: who were these lines made for? So, welcome back, friends and family of the internet. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. My name is Samantha Starkey. I am the owner operator of a 2-acre farmstead located in Southeast Louisiana. I recently published a book, Growing Under a Poison Sky. I spent the majority of my life in a classroom or in college, but at this stage of my life, the Lord has given me rain to look at things and prepare you and I both for end times. We're that close. So let's talk about this. What are the Nazca lines? We're not just going to talk about the Nazca lines. We're going to talk about serpent mounds. We're going to go deep into what the book of Enoch says about fallen angel technology. Why? Why does that even matter, Sam? Friends and family, Jesus gave a warning. He said, it's going to be like the days of Noah and Lot when I return. So that means you and I need to study. See, Jesus grew up with the book of Enoch. Jesus grew up with these ancient texts. He had studied these things his entire life. The Bible says his family lost him when they were going for a count and to pay their taxes one day. And they found him in the synagogue at the age of 12, listening, learning, and teaching himself, which means our Savior expected you and I to understand when he said, as in the days of Noah and Lot, that we would understood and understand what he said. So we're going to get into it. Okay, so what are the Nazca lines? Just a little for your information. I like to put on like History Channel and things like that when I'm going to sleep and set the sleep timer on my television. And I fall asleep listening to like ancient museum finds and stuff like that. Last night, it was the Nazca lines. And as I'm going to sleep, I'm listening to them talk about the fact that there were 800 straight lines, 300 geometric shapes, and 70 massive animal and humanoid figures already uncovered in the middle of a desert. Now, when I brought this up to my 25-year-old just a few minutes ago on the phone before I decided to make this video, I said, now, this is the coolest thing, Bug. You can't see these things unless you're in the sky. And she goes, well, they could have climbed a tree, Ma. There was really big trees 2,000 years ago. I said, in the middle of a desert? And she goes, oh, good point. So let me assure you, the way they built these, literally nobody would have known what they fully looked like unless they were in the sky. So, located southern Peru. Get it out, Sam. Get it out. You guys know sometimes I just eat my own tongue kind of thing. All right, guys. Let me pull up all this cool, amazing stuff for you guys. Don't go anywhere. I know you might be thinking, oh, this is boring. I don't need to know about this. Yes. Yes, you do. All right, guys. These are just a few of them. All right. I just told you there are 70 massive animal and humanoid figures. There's this like gigantic tarantula, and I don't know what these are. I don't know if these are hummingbirds. This one at the bottom almost looks like a monkey. Then there's a dog. You've got a compass, a whale in the middle of the desert. Now I know that shorelines change and whatnot, but still, this to me looks like the tree of life, right? Here's a parrot. I mean, parrots are in jungles, right? Whales are in oceans. Here's an astronaut. That's what they call this one, the astronaut. I, I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger. These are real. I'm not joking. I'm actually going to show you some video in a second. Look at this whale. I mean, come on, you guys. Okay, so again, let me lay the stage for you so that you can actually see what's happening. This is a desert. They didn't find these things until like the 1920s. These are lines that were made in the desert. Now, the only way to see the shape in its entirety is from above. All right. But these were made 2,000 years ago. Let me say that again. These were made 2,000 years ago, friends and family. All right. Look at this. Look at the fingers. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four. I was intentional. I'll tell you why in a second. This is like a huge spider. So for some of us, it's like, ugh. This kind of reminds me, I've seen this symbol somewhere. Part of me wanted to go Hanukkah, but I know that's not it. There is an occult symbol that mimics this. Somebody help me drop it in comments because you guys are amazing. And I know y'all would. Now, I mean, like I said, you cannot see these unless you're in the sky. Now, there's something else that you should know. Excuse me. They have been finding these elongated skulls in Peru also. All right. And as the legend goes, local legends refer to a group known as the Gentiles, described as being larger than the native population. Gentiles, larger than the native population that these belong to. Okay. All right, guys. So they have spiders, birds, monkeys, whales, and a mysterious humanoid that they call the astronaut. These were supposedly created sometime between 500 BC and 500 CE, long before hot air balloons, aircraft, and satellites. And yet they are perfectly proportioned when viewed from above. Now, mainstream media explains it like this. Somebody took a rock and scraped away the heavier soil and left the lighter soil beneath with simple tools, and they used rope and stakes to make straight lines. Mhm. Now, I'm a very educated woman, and so are you, and that is possible. It absolutely is. Mhm. However, when you're covering miles, like you've got a straight line for, say, 3 miles, you've got to make a straight line that covers 3 miles. There is no margin for error, friends and family. These things have precise angles, they are perfect in their scaling, and they had to have known that they would preserve long term because they're in the desert. Now, these recently were found in Saudi Arabia. They are believed to be as old, if not outdating, the ones found in Peru. So deserts have this really unique ability to do that. Okay, but let's look at this, all right? Let's look at the bird. Let's look at this. This is not smile. This line right here may be about a mile and a half, right? So I want you to notice like the precision. Okay, so let's just say that they did these things, but they couldn't see the finished product. What is the likelihood of that? I'm just asking. I'm only asking questions. So the question even isn't even whether they were made. The question is how the designers visualized the final image to be made. Like, did somebody take a piece of paper and a pen and like draw it and was like, hey, Sam, I need you to make a straight line that's going to go 700 feet left and 400 feet right. And then you're going to have to curve on this wing at this angle and come back and then curve and come back. And then, I mean, like, are you guys understand what I'm asking? It's just odd. Now, this is where it gets deep. For the ones of you that have stayed this long, make sure you hit the like button, hype this video if you can. But the Nazca lines align with summer and winter solstices, the equinox sunrises and the equinox sunsets, the stars when they rise and set, and other lunar cycles. Okay. Some point to the rising of Sirius. Uh, Animals depicted often correlate with constellations, seasonal water cycles, as well as agricultural timing. This places the Nazca lines in the same category as Stonehenge, Egyptian temples, and Mesoamerican pyramids. This is not random desert art. This is like a cosmic marker. Now, archaeologists are suggesting that they were used in ancient processions, right? Or maybe these were just ritual pathways. Okay, Sam, you're in trouble. Go say 5 Hail Marys and walk the bird, right? I mean, well, that's kind of what they're doing. Maybe they were offering to their rain to the the sky gods for rain. But the Nazca culture in itself was deeply concerned with water, fertility, and survival in an unforgiving climate. I mean, we're talking about the desert. But here's the problem. Why create imagery only visible from above if the ritual participants can't see it on the ground? Unless this ritual was never for humans. A lot of these ancient civilizations believed that the gods came down from the heavens, they descended from the heavens, and these divine beings were here to teach us agriculture, astronomy, and the order of things. They wanted to give us knowledge from above. And this is where the fallen angels come in. Because, see, a lot of the fallen angels that came down, and you can read about it in Genesis and the actual book of the Bible, but we're going to read about it in the book of Enoch, okay? And I want to say this real quick before I go any further and I get somebody upset with me because I'm reading out of the book of Enoch. Enoch is important. And I understand it was kept out of the Bible, but there was actual really good reasons for that. But it doesn't mean that there isn't some information in the book of Enoch that could be very useful right now. So, like I said, a lot of these ancient civilizations believed that these beings, they called them gods, came down to bring knowledge. Well, if you read the book of Enoch, starting in chapter 6, it says, "And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan to do this thing. Right? Let's do this thing. That's what the angels were like. Yeah, let's do this thing. They swore they all together bound themselves, and they in all numbered 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. Now, if you know anything about Nathan Reynolds, he's talked about this mountain where they still go people do to bring their children, especially their beautiful daughters, up on these mountains for like an entire calendar month of like a full moon or during a certain solstice um, to breed, basically. Now, you may not believe that, and that's fine if you don't. But basically, on Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. Now it goes on and it says that, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms, enchantments, cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. They became pregnant and they bore great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and the men could no longer sustain them. The giants turned against them and began to devour mankind. And they began to sin against the birds and the beasts and the reptiles and the fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid acquisition against the lawless ones. And I think it's pronounced Azael. Azazel. I had it earlier. I was saying it. I knew it was right. It'll come to me. Taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates and all the metals of the earth. But it goes on and keeps talking that one of these fallen angels taught them the knowledge of the clouds. Another one taught them the knowledge of the constellations. Another one, the signs of the sun. Another one, the course of the moon. And as the men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Now, this was right before the flood, you guys, right? So you have to look at that. You have to really think about this. What knowledge was brought down and given to man that was not meant for them? Now, they also believe that these, little g gods came down to teach civilization, and that they would leave and then promise to return, often described as tall, radiant, and not fully human. Now we know from the Bible itself that angels can they can morph, right? They can shapeshift. They can go from angelic being to human. We know that. Now, all of these beings were described as teachers, but not gods demanding worship. So there's also something called the giants and the Nazca region. Local legend and skeletal anomalies suggest that there were beings larger than modern humans. They had elongated skulls. I just showed you that. And they had non standard cranial morphology. A lot of people believe that these are hybrids, hybrid of angel and human. Now, biblical texts speak of something called Nephilim, giants born of the watchers and human women, beings possessing like advanced knowledge directly from heaven. It was never meant for us. So were the Nazca lines markers for giants? I mean, that could be one possibility. Pathways for beings larger than humans, or signals meant to be seen from above. Like none of that can be easily answered at this point. We simply do not know. Now, let me show you some of these. Now, of course, someone added the outlines that you would actually be able to see these things more clearly. Does any of this look like something if you were drawing something in the desert that these things are like a mile high and a mile wide? They're tremendously large. I know it looks like somebody just drew it on paper and dropped it on the screen. That is not what that is. Some of these things have tails. These are obviously supposed to be humanoid, but they have tails. And what is this? I've seen this on a cartoon and I can't place it, but when I see this thing, you see, like I just get like I know that it's demonic, right? Let me show you something else. So these are also called the aqueducts. aqueducts of Nazca, which form spirals made of stone going deep into the ground and around the edge of the Nazca lines. Like, look at this spiral going down, right? There's the human. Look how big it is. That's what I'm telling you guys. These are not little. Now, this was found in the desert south of Lima, Peru, near the Nazca Lines. This skull has an unusual shape, and it looks like the brain would be way larger in volume than a human's, right? Judging by the size, the skull belonged to an individual at least, drum rolls, 10 feet tall. Now, this I found very interesting. There's an email saying that Andrew, Prince Andrew, was interesting in seeing the Nazca lines in southern Peru, and the date of the email is March 3rd, 2002. On August 3rd, 2002, Prince Andrew was photographed in Lima, Peru, as of a royal tour to celebrate the late Queen's Golden Jubilee. Yeah, I think you would like to see what I sent. Have a great time. I just gave Andrew your telephone number. He's interested in seeing the Nazca lines. He can ride, but it's not his favorite sport. Pass on the horses. Some sightseeing, some two-legged sightseeing, read, intelligent, pretty fun, and from good families, and he will be very happy. I know I can rely on you to show him a wonderful time and that you will only introduce him to friends that you can trust and rely on to be friendly and discreet and fun. He does not want to read about any trip in the papers, whom or what he saw. Y'all know this is from G. Maxwell, right? Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm talking Epstein here, folks. Mhm. I'm talking Epstein here, friendly. Bams and friends. Oh, I'm going to get it, you guys. He does not want to read about his trip in any papers, whom or what he saw. Call me if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can expect a very English sounding gentleman on the phone to call up and say, Hi. I told him it would be best if he made his plans directly with you. The only part that I am jealous about is that he will get to see you and that he will be in Peru and you as his tour guide for the day. Bezos. Prince Andrew made a 6-day official visit to Peru in March 2002 as part of a tour of South America to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. It says here, recent controversy. In December 2025, newly released documents related to Jeffrey Epstein investigation revealed emails between Ghislaine Maxwell and an alias believed to be Prince Andrew. These messages, dated February 2002, discuss potential private arrangements for two-legged sightseeing, referring to meeting with pretty and fun women during his stay in Peru. This is absolutely tremendous. This is probably a 4 miles radius in size. If there was a human here, it would look one of these sage bushes. Okay, let me let you look at this one. Again, if you were not in the sky, you would never be able to see these things. And I think there may be an overall larger picture, like an overall larger line that crisscross all over the small ones that either we have not been shown yet, or they keep showing us the individual pictures. Think of this like a large tapestry. 100 miles by 100 miles, on each side of each square of the tapestry is an individual picture. You see the whole tapestry? You see how big this is? The one in the center here? Look at this. There's something larger that they're not showing us. They're showing us the small pieces.
You've heard of the Nazca Lines. Down in South America and Peru, you've heard of the Nazca Lines. It was at that time something happened to the weather there, and the rains no longer came. Something devastating happened in the weather patterns. And when a cosmic event takes place of that magnitude, which brought on the Dark Ages in Europe, it just wasn't localized. It affected everything around the world. And as more scientists are being able to get into the ancient Chinese calendars, they're beginning to correlate that what impacts one part of the Earth will affect another part of the Earth as well. And so these are some more scientific data which Mark Hazelwood puts in here. But it is interesting when one gets into real events taking place in this country right now. I'm talking about Yellowstone. You all know Yellowstone National Park. Out there is the largest cauldron in the world, which means an extinct volcano. It's 40 miles across. I had a friend who visited there last month. She went to a conference, and she wanted to go up and see the Grand Tetons, which is south of Yellowstone, but just north of Jackson Hole, where the conference was held. And a person in town told her, you should look upon the Tetons for the last time and appreciate them. And then my friend told me, Yellowstone Lake, the water has gotten so hot that the fish have died. When she called me about this, I said, would you please send me some information, whatever you can, so we can get this out to the public? And she said, boy, that's going to be hard to do because they're censoring a lot of information. They don't want to scare the people. Because when Yellowstone goes, when that erupts, it's going to take out the whole western half of the United States. Goodbye, Tetons. Some of that information is put in here by Mark Hazelwood, but there's also just two websites which are made available, if you can find them, about the real condition out at Yellowstone. Now, what is it going to take to set off that volcano in Yellowstone? Planet X getting a little bit closer. Now, if you talk to the honest Garabandal people, they will tell you anything could happen next spring. Spring of 2004. Because they believe now that the warning the Blessed Mother spoke about to Conchita, it would be connected with a cosmic event, which would.
Do you see how people get caught up with this Blessed Mother spoke of this event and that event? And that was 2004. It's been 21 years and Yellowstone's still there. These demons represented and posing, as alter egos, Nicki Minaj, as divine feminine, Erica Kirk, and, Mariology for the Catholics in the group. These are just small g gods. They want to force the Antichrist system into place. They are trying to force God into the end time battle for all of humanity and for all souls. This is a cosmic war we're fighting in for real. All right, so let me read you a little bit more real quick out of the book of Enoch, because the book of Enoch, though it's a non-canonical but ancient book, states that the Watchers ascended to earth. They taught forbidden knowledge as astronomy, geometry, metallurgy, and divination. Then the Nazca Lines require advanced geometry, long term planning, precise astronomical understanding. So that raises like a really important question, almost a forbidden question. Did ancient humans discover this knowledge, or was this knowledge taught? Chapter 80, the book of Enoch. And in those days, the angel Uriel answered and said to me, behold, I have shown thee everything, Enoch, and I have revealed everything to thee, that thou shouldest see the sun and this moon and the leaders of the stars of the heaven, and all those who turn them, their task and times and departures. And in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened, and their seed shall be tardy on their lands and their fields, and all things on the earth shall alter, shall change, shall be changed, and they and shall not appear in their time. So up until this point in the book of Enoch, Enoch has been getting visions of what's happening in the heavens, that there's an angel legitimately for everything. The dew of the morning, the rain, the wind, the gusts, the storms, the thunder, the lightning. He talks about, the sun has a specific path, a portal that it must walk across the sky in. But in this chapter, something's changing. And it says, and all things on the earth shall alter and shall not appear in their time. And the rain shall be kept back, and the heaven shall withhold it. And in those times, the fruits of the earth shall be backward and shall not grow in their time. Because you remember in the book of Ecclesiastes, God tells us that there's a season for everything, right? It's a time to pluck up and a time to put down. There's a time to be born and time to die. There's daylight and, nighttime, time to plant and a time to reap. And God is, and there's, a season. And then now you get to the book of Enoch and it's saying, in the time of the sinners, none of that's going to happen like that. And the fruits of the tree shall be withheld in their time, and the moon shall alter her order. She will not follow the order in the sky that for all of mankind's time on earth it's followed. And it shall not appear at her time. And in those days the sun shall be seen, and he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. And many chiefs of the stars shall transgress their order, their prescribed order, and these shall alter their orbits and their task. So the stars in the sky are not going to be where they're supposed to be. They're not going to shine when they're supposed to shine. The sun's going to come out at night. And the thoughts of those on the earth shall err concerning them. So humans are going to look up and they're going to come up, NASA and scientists, all the experts, with everything wrong. They're going to be telling people, oh, this is caused from this, and it's all going to be wrong. Because they shall be altered from all their ways. Yea, they shall err and take them to be gods. And evil shall be multiplied upon them, and punishment shall come upon them so as to destroy all. Guys, I'm just so thankful that God has a plan for us, his children. Now, I want to show you this. There are some people that try to say that Nazca lines are alien, but I'm going to skip that because I don't believe in aliens. I believe in fallen angel technology. The Nazca is not isolated. They connect conceptually to the Egyptian geoglyphs and their landscapes, the Amazonian earthworks, and something called the Uffington White Horse. It's England's ancient chalk drawing that's now been restored to its former glory. Look at this. To me, it's beautiful. Researchers believe that the Uffington horse was created between 1380 and 210 BCE. Isn't it beautiful? It's a mysterious figure now restored to its former glory. According to Oxford Archaeology, who oversaw the restoration in partnership with the National Trust, people living near Uffington White Horse were the first to notice that the famous chalk figure was growing less distinct. So they fixed it. This thing has been dated back to the Bronze Age or the Iron Age, and but with new technology might provide a clear picture of its origin. So I just wanted to add that in there, right? Because you also have the serpent mounds in North America that I've already done some videos on. You've got the serpent mounds in North America. You've got this in England. We've talked about the obelisk, standing stones. We're going to get to sacred mountains, right? These are earth sky interfaces. Pagan systems consistently encode divinity and geometry, align worship with celestial cycles, create structures as cosmic clocks. The Nazca Lines function like a massive ritual calendar, a desert sized siegel, a ceremonial interface between the earth and heaven. These directly align with everything that we've been talking about the little g gods rising, monument placement, sacred geography, Kabbalah. The lines are not idols per se. They are instructions written on the earth. The problem is nobody knows what the instructions are for. Like, what is going on? So the Nazca lines predate Inca. However, the Inca inherited sacred sites, preserved astronomical traditions, and believed mountains, lines, and stones were alive. In the Inca worldview, the earth is conscious. The sky communicates through signs, and humans participate in cosmic order. The Nazca lines fit into this worldview because the earth is responding to the sky. Humans were acting as mediators, and geometry became prayer. Now, friends and family, if that is not some paganistic Kabbalah mess, I don't know what is. But I do want to say this: Nazca is a monument without stone. It has become precise without known machines. It's visible only from the sky. It sits at the intersection of something between pagan cosmology and fallen angel mythology. Nazca is not an anomaly. It is evidence of a forgotten worldview, one where the sky mattered and someone was watching. I love you guys so much. Please don't forget to pick up your book, Growing Under a Poison Sky. If you'd like to support my husband's ongoing medical bills, I will link how to do that. I really appreciate you guys. Would you guys like to go from here into like genetic manipulation and the seed war? Or would you guys rather move into like a direct tie to Revelation, Watchers, and end time deception? I'm going to leave it up to y'all. I'm going to see how many of each comment I get back, and that'll give me an idea of where to go. Don't miss tomorrow's video. I'm going to show you guys some of the craziest stuff that I saw pertaining to Christmas and why I think it's really important we talk about this. The East attacked the West during Christmas. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Literally, Muslims were burning Christmas trees and ripping down nativity scenes, and places like South Carolina had to fight for their life to put out a depiction of the manger because God forbid we insult somebody that's not Christian in America. However, all across America, you've got call to prayer, right? Like that's not insulting and annoying and like a dying dang donkey, man. But anyway, I'm going to do a video on that because tomorrow is Sunday and it's just right after Christmas. Also, a viewer sent me the craziest thing I have to show you about President Trump and Christmas. You are not going to want to miss what I've got to show you guys. It is mind blowing, but I love you. Thank you for your time. I know 2 videos in one, but I did miss an entire week and I've got bills to pay. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. Like, comment, subscribe, and Sam will see you tomorrow.